give them a little bit of video. Car's rolling over, that's why I come in.
A roadway where there's moving traffic, you always got to have your head on the swivel. Dangerous roadways, especially on 45, people just don't look, they don't care. It's like a light.
Developing our fire is like other hands focus on taking down and going up. It's going to find the path of least resistance. Oh, nice.
Okay. Got it.
Take the fogging off of it.
Oh, yeah.
Are you in there?
Hold in there.
You good?
Okay.
Okay. Good? You good, Albert?
That is amazing.
Well, what do you think?
Oh, it is so impressive. Every American ought to go through this drill because your appreciation for our firefighters, it's unbelievable.
What was it like in there with the heat now?
Well, the heat was pretty tough, but boy, just all the gear it takes to get in there, just the movement, range of movement, is tough. So I can't imagine carrying an axe, any other equipment into this. Yeah, it's remarkable. Our firefighters are amazing.
Like carrying a hose in there going look at it.
I can't imagine, cannot imagine.
Okay, so look. As the heat rises, it's going to start to draw gases off of the other furniture. It's going to start drawing gases off the furniture.
Like that, or take the coat off, whatever you want to do.
I just get a little bit.
Get warm in there, huh?
Fully developed stage, flashover as we call it. I'm going to show you the fire load, the exits, what water supply we're using, so you have an understanding what we got going on in there. Just to be safe for the COVID, I'm going to take 10 in at a time. We'll talk about it, and then the next 10 will come in and we'll talk about it. All right, so just first 10, Chief, you mind? Stuff of door removal and potentially the roof removal. We'll see how we're going with y'all with the tools. We have two sets of tools on here. One is going to be gas powered and the other is battery powered. Still the same strength. Obviously, technology has created this battery powered tools that allows us to be more mobile and married to hoses that allow we can only go so far, right? So as a company, y'all are going to work. This group will work on one side of the car, and y'all will work on the other side of the car. Your wrangler will be with you the whole time, kind of coaching you, letting you know if some of the hazards were.
Okay.
So I'll give you a hand.
Yep, just lift it straight up.
You gotta like it. You gotta like it. It's an abandoned house.
We call this the classroom, the lower portion. All right, this is where we're sitting, and this is the actual burn room. Okay, so you see a barrel there. That's called the crew. Real quick, so you know who's in here with you. My name's Chris Norsworthy. I'm a lieutenant with the Woodlands Fire Department. I've got about 18 years experience. I'm at the station at Station 6, right across the freeway here. I also work for Lone Star College Montgomery, which is hosted out here, so I'm very familiar with all these props and the facility really well. So what we have here, like I said, outside is the fire behavior prop. What we like to call this is the classroom, the observation room, and then we have the actual burn room up here. Okay, so we're going to be in this area. We will never be in this area up here. You're going to be seated basically with your feet towards the prop, and you're going to be just watching this direction, okay? We have a barrel with 2.5 pallets worth of wood, and what we do is we light that. That's what actually we light on fire. That's going to be our fire. The OSB that you see around the walls, that's to simulate furniture in a room. And what it does is it's going to off-gas, and I'm going to explain that whole procedure while we're in here. And it's going to create the environment that causes what we call a flashover. So when we first start the fire, we call it the incipient state of the fire. It's really small, and it's going to develop into the fully developed stage, which is the flashover. That's the fire load. That's 7 sheets of OSB and 2.5 pallets worth of wood. I have one hand line in here, 1 3/4 inch fire hose with a fog nozzle. I'm going to use a technique we call penciling. It's not a technique that we teach firefighters on how to extinguish, but because this is not an extinguishment prop, it's more of just a fire behavior. Like we learn to see how the fire develops. We're going to talk a lot about door control. We have 2 doors in the rear. Obviously those are our exits, but we're going to control the doors and talk to y'all about how we're just not going in and fighting the fire. We're doing door control. If there's, like today we have a really strong north wind, so we're going to talk about that, how wind affects our job. Right above you here we have a ventilation prop. So when firefighters get on scene, the engine companies typically go in and fight the fires, and the ladder companies get on the roof and cut holes. We're going to show you what that effect does to the fire when we put a hole in the roof. One, it helps anybody who has a chance of surviving the fire. It gives them a better chance to survive, and it also gives our firefighters a more comfortable environment to work and fight the fire. All right, so we have, like I said, the 2 exits are there. The one thing I want to talk about primarily on safety is you're going to be seated. So again, the smoke and fire is going to be about this level with the floor. I want you to stay seated. You're going to become perfectly safe. If you stand up, that's when we're going to start to run into a little bit of safety issues. One, at the height of this fire, it could be upwards of 1,000 degrees or higher. So stay low. And also if you stand up, if you look on either side of the wall there's a baffle. This door is going to shut. So if you stand up and walk, you could primarily hit your face, and that will dislodge your mask, and that could be an issue. You will be seriously hurt if your mask comes off, or unfortunately worse. So we need to crawl. If in a moment we're like, hey, I got to get out of here, I just want you to calmly just crawl out the hose line, and one of the 2 firefighters at the rear of the door will assist you on getting out. One thing I failed to tell the first group is when you're in this heat, in this environment, a lot of times we tell the people, don't touch each other, because when you touch each other, you have that airspace is superheated, and it could cause a burn on you. So just be very cautious, kind of be moving. You're going to kind of just sitting around, moving around, trying to keep your body from just taking a direct heat in one area. What else do I got here? 2 instructors in the back. They're going to control the doors. I'll have an instructor up here where Danielle's standing, and he's primarily watching y'all to make sure everything's okay.
Safe word.
Right. So a safe word. So in the fire service, when a firefighter gets in trouble, they say the word Mayday. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. That means, okay, this is serious. We need to do something. So if you feel hot, something's not right, I want you to say Mayday. We're going to control this while we do something to get you out. Okay?
How long will we be with you in here?
It could last. It varies. As long as
How long does it take to cook a roast?
I'm guessing anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. Okay. Like I said, it depends on how fast I can get this fire going. Every one of them's been different. I've done it 100 times, and none of them have been the same. Sometimes I sit in here for 30 minutes before the fire flashes over. Sometimes I've been in here for 5 minutes, and it's already blowing and going. So this has been in here. It's good and dry. Water affects it, obviously, in fire.
So how do we know when we're close to being over?
I'll let you know.
No.
And if you feel like you're one of the ones that maybe want to get out early, I would suggest sitting towards the rear, and we'll accommodate to get you out of here.
So we're all going to stack them. No, you first.
Yeah. Again, stay in the middle. If you feel the urge to pull your mask off, that's the thing I do not want you to do the most. Please don't pull your mask off. I promise it's gonna.
Can I add something,
fine.
Chris?
Yes,
When
sir.
you're wearing an air pack, especially when you first wear it, you're going to feel a little claustrophobic, and it's going to feel like you're going to concentrate on your breathing. But once you're in here and you're watching the fire, your mind is not going to think about that. You'll be comfortable. You'll be watching the fire, and that'll take up most of your concentration. So just relax, you know, when you get in here. And like he said, just crawl out on your hands and knees if there's an issue.
It'll be great.
Yeah, and it won't take you.
So get people out, save lives, and then conserve your property. Y'all saw the fire from the incipient stages. It doesn't take, that's wood, okay? The OSB does have glue in it. But everything we have in our home now, the curtains, the carpet, the laminate flooring, the pre-manufactured flooring, the couches, everything is petroleum-based plastics. So to get that fire, it doesn't take that long for the fire to develop anymore. So that's why it's critical that we have the 5-minute response time or less. The more people we throw at stuff like this, the better the outcome typically is. Limited manpower, limited people, we're working extra hard. We were fortunate enough to just sit in there. If we had to do primary search, meaning crawling around with tools, equipment, forcing the door to get into the home, dragging our hose lines in, getting them in the proper place, ventilating the roof with chainsaws, axes, laddering the structure for means of egress, softening the structure, opening up doors, windows. It's a process, and it takes a lot of people that really know what they're doing. So that's really all I got for the guys else in there. Did anybody want to touch on anything or speak on anything? Yeah, get it. Let's say one. Oh, okay. I know, that's...
When they open that enough, you're going to see the hinges.
He was banking real good a minute ago.
Rescue truck is set up for us to do a couple of primary things. The first and foremost is this truck goes on every box alarm, every fire we have in the Woodlands. So with the personnel on this truck, typically when they arrive, they're going to get something similar to a truck crew assignment. In the Woodlands, we have pumper apparatus, truck apparatus, and we have the rescue. Essentially, is that you get some additions? Oh, are we? Okay, y'all come on in.
Let's go start pushing you that way. You want to come on this side?
These are nice because they're obviously battery powered.
Thanks for me.
All right. No, they just got back from being clean.
Wait right there and then sprayed out.
Step up right here.
Ain't gonna be that long now. All right, watch your set. Get.
I'm looking at this. It's a little small. Okay? I know to stay low. I know to see this. So it's important to see how firefighters stay low.
Let's step out the smoke.
But I'm watching to see how fast and aggressive this smoke is. If it's really slow, it's not telling me that the fire is really, really hot. I don't have to have the technology, but it sure does help to have it if I need quick rescue.
Do me a favor, Chino, would you go shut the ignition off? This is Rescue 101. Rescue 101 is our technical rescue apparatus. This truck has all of the tools and equipment that the company that rides on this truck needs to effect any kind of a rescue. If somebody's trapped, injured, hurt, caught somewhere, stuck in something, has something on top of them, got underneath something, this is the truck and the company that goes to handle those responses. We also go to every box alarm in the Woodlands. That's every fire. When this truck goes on the fire call, it's more of in line with a ladder truck. So there's ground ladders, hand tools, and the company that's on here typically, depending on their arrival order, could be RIT. They could be assigned an interior search and rescue of a victim, and as well as maybe doing some other outside duties like ventilation and those things. So we have a lot of equipment on here. So that's the reason for it as being just a big box. There's no fire pump. There's no aerial, it's primarily tools, and the most important thing on this truck is the people. The people that ride this truck have a lot of extra responsibility. They go through a little bit more training, so the critical thing on this truck is the people that ride on it, and the tools that come with them. So if you want to walk around and look.
Removal or whatever. Once we determine that we have a viable patient, we're going to extricate. We need to stabilize the vehicle and then secure the batteries to the vehicle. Almost every car on the roadway now is equipped with airbags. If I go immediately start cutting on these cars, I could deploy the side curtain bag, I could deploy the seat bags, I could deploy the steering wheel bag, and that obviously would hurt me and the victim even more. We don't want to make the situation any worse than it already is. We want to make it better. So let's just go ahead and say we've secured the batteries for time purposes.
Let it keep going. All right. Close it.
What happens if the smoke, like what are some of the... That's amazing.
The one thing to consider is when I open the door with the key, the door's going to swing open. So I would never want to necessarily put it right here because I'm going to think that door's coming open. That's a great spot.
We kind of changed our design from our previous apparatus. The previous one was a little bit smaller. We have since added a lot more equipment. We're looking to try to maybe get some extra personnel to staff it. So we decided to build a little bit larger truck that has some more room for personnel to ride on it, as well as a lot of additional equipment to handle some of the increased incidents and things that we've been encountering. So if you want to take a look around, I can answer it. Some of the things we have in here, really quickly. So y'all come on in. So today we're going to do a little bit of extrication here in just a minute. And so this truck will have things on it for stabilizing the vehicles. We have cribbing, we have lifting and moving equipment. This first compartment has all of our extrication tools that you guys are going to be using. They're hydraulically operated. Sometimes they run on a gasoline-driven pump, and some of them are battery operated. There's also saws, lifting jacks, bottle jacks, that sort of equipment. There's stabilization struts and some other stuff in there. This compartment has all of our cutting equipment. It's got a gasoline oxygen torch, saws, battery operated saws, a battery operated bandsaw for things like impalements and that sort of stuff. This has a, this is where we separate all of our fuel out so that it's isolated in another box. These are all of our saws. You know, if we don't know necessarily what we're going to encounter, so we try to keep a lot of breaching and cutting equipment. That's primarily what these two compartments are for. We have a generator and some fans, and inside of here is a great deal of stabilization. So if we have a building collapse, or a firefighter trapped in a building collapse, or anything of that nature, we have all of these lifting and stabilization equipment in this compartment that helps us get in, mitigate, stabilize it, find that person, and extricate them safely. The biggest thing on here, by far, like I said, though, are the people. So all these tools are great, but we have to train. So all the guys that are on this truck go through a tremendous amount of extra training and getting them to the scene as fast as we can so that they're there, because we rescue the firemen. If you wondered who does that, that's what this truck does. So the firemen get hurt, that's what we got to do. So if you
Most people would think maybe you want to pry like this. It's a lot easier. You just push up and down.
Yeah,
Now you start opening that up and give it a place
right
to
now
be.
they're stabilizing. Another get where Torres is. Get where